Mother, man.
This is Alexa, and you're listening to Murder Metal Mayhem.
Spreading faster than a case of the clap in a trailer court. Able to shatter eardrums within a 666-mile radius. A podcast more brutal than all the rest. It's Murder Metal Mayhem! Hi, what's up, man?
What's up, motherfuckers? How's it going?
Fucking Alexa's a creep.
She is, man. She's all about Murder Metal Mayhem, apparently.
God damn.
So, well, it's Tuesday, guys, and we're doing that thing we do here at Horns High Studios with episode 114, doing a little creepiness, Joey.
Yeah.
I know you dig horror films and creepy stuff, so.
And it's fucking October 2020.
2020.
Can't get much creepier than that.
That's true, man. So this this is going to be a really good one to kind of set it off for the creepy factor, because this one's got it, that's for sure. But everybody doing okay, surviving the pandemic still?
Yeah, we're still doing all right.
That's good.
Working.
Yeah, working. I mean, we're all just trying to live and get through it all. And again, we know we have some listeners that have been dealing with these fires and the hurricanes and stuff, and we hope everybody's okay out there, and hopefully little Murder Metal Mayhem maybe not such a bad way to have to
cheer you
up
a little
and
bit.
Cheer up and listen to our stupidity for a couple hours a week, you know. So we were supposed to have Brian Warden here with us, but he had a last minute change in his work schedule. We know Brian works at a federal institution, let's say that. And so he was, dealing with COVID and schedule changes. And so he was very unfortunately had to decline being here. But good news is he's got a new position there.
He will be
and he's a little more flexible. So we love having Brian in. We'll get him back. We got so many good topics coming up. We could pretty much have Brian in here for any of them. Yeah. And he would love it, you know.
Be a part of it, instantly. Yep. Let's do that one.
Yeah, and I think, too, when we've had guests come in and we do a real offbeat one, I think they like those because it's not something they know about at all. So they're kind of coming in and
let's learn about something
together. It's kind of cool, really. Last week was a good one. Number 113, we did the feature on the Attica prison riot. Brutal fucking riot, upstate New York, 1971. So right in the middle of the friggin', just chaos at that time.
Civil rights movement.
Vietnam, Nixon. It was just crazy.
I like how Nixon's like a thing too, not just a presidential thing.
I don't have an issue with him. The Watergate's a different story, and I'm not even going to get into it.
I'm not getting. I just like
Nixon is
like a thing.
It's got this ominous sound. Nixon was in office. So, but in this riot, 43 lives were lost. A lot of mayhem, plenty of blame to go around. Of course, you got the cover-up factor,
and we had fucking Tex talking with us,
and we had Tex here, and of course, Tex being here makes it for good. We talk about prison stories. We've got a guy who's been in the corrections business and currently is in Texas. And old Tex comes in with his 10-gallon hat and talks a little bit to us. So good times. We had CK doing another UK band, Raven. Didn't know shit about him. It was interesting to hear what he had to say about it. But the crazy thing was in Hellcoming, we had a fucking tie.
Yeah, that's
which
fucked.
Did not expect that.
No, I never expected a tie, honestly. But then after we got through it, it's like, wait.
Yeah, we knew we had a fourth week. We planned the contest being 4 weeks, but because of the number of listeners, we had set it that the way we set this up, there was no way to do it in 4. We did it in 3. But because of the tie, we go to the 4th week anyway, so it really worked out perfectly. So we've got the guys in it tonight battling it out, but we will have a clear winner, I promise. No tie. I think that sucks, like in the NFL, when you see a tie or their wins-loss dash with a 1 or a 2.
And they got the tie in there. It's like, God damn it, just let them play till they win, dude.
It doesn't look right, So we're not going to end in a tie. There will be a winner, and of course, it's going to be amazing. So me and CK battling it out in this final. and one of us will be victorious. We'll join the winner's circle with Chris. He won the March Mayhem. So these are fun.
My goddamn
and I like to do stuff like this. So any of you guys have any ideas? Maybe we could do some kind of Christmas thing, themed one that might be
Just
funny.
make some kind of fucking goddamn contest game or whatever for the fans or the listeners to enjoy with us.
Yeah.
That's fucking fun, dude.
I think so. So, Hellcoming, of course, brought to you by Fokin' Nuts, the best peanut butter, man. We've been eating it here on the show, so their slogan, eat the whole jar, is not a difficult thing to do. It's very easy. It's so good. But if you missed that one, go back and listen to episode 113. We just passed 1,000 total listens for that one. So thanks everybody that's checked it out. And if you missed it, go give it a listen. Now tonight we got another really good one. We're starting out our October creepy episodes with a look at the Illinois Asylum for the Incurable Insane. That sounds bad.
Dude, that sounds bad. And that was legit the name of the sign.
That was the name of this fucking place. I mean, talk about creepy as fuck. That just sounds really bad, and the long title on top of it.
I hope I never end up there, man.
It does not sound like a good place. But ironically, it really was. We'll talk about it. But it was located in Bartonville, Illinois, and of course, our Central Illinois listeners are going to know all about this one. But anybody from outside of here, that's very close to Peoria. About 45 miles or so from where we are here doing this podcast. So not very far from us. The asylum was open from 1902 to 1973. And during that time, there were thousands of lost souls that passed through their doors. We'll talk about the hospital and how it looked at mental health in a very different way than most, places were doing it at this time. Because, man, it was really some scary shit, man.
Yeah.
I mean, like Tower of London type stuff, you know, really awful things that they did because they just didn't know any better. And they really looked at the mentally ill as like they don't have feelings. They don't feel hot. They don't feel cold. They're like, just like whatever. They're treated like less than animals.
They just rape the shit out of them.
Yeah. Like for real, though.
No, I mean, it's really awful.
No, for real, though.
It's really awful. So, I mean, it's just a very bad thing. So we'll talk about a little of that. We'll talk about the notorious patients that resided there because there's some good ones. We're going to talk about some that you may be familiar with, some maybe not.
Depending on who you talk to, they might still reside there.
That's right. That's right. And, of course, we can't talk about this place and not discuss the paranormal side of it. There seems to be a lot of it. People that believe and get into that sort of thing. 215 acres, man. This property was massive and lots of buildings and lots of nooks and crannies and pretty creepy stuff. So we'll talk about that. It should be a good one. Got CK fucking throwing some heat in the bullpen, getting ready. He's going to bring some metal tonight. Going to talk some Orange Goblin. These guys are cool. They got a new live album that came out this year. It's actually really good. I'm not typically a fan of metal that's this style, but I like these guys. They're just really cool.
I don't know if I've ever actually really heard them.
Yeah, they're really good. And he's going to tell us all about them, and he's got another Lost Classic. And, of course, some heavy metal news. Of course, we got the passing of Eddie Van Halen. Just found that out today. Unbelievable, surprise. We knew he had been battling cancer, but when you hear it, it's like, wow, Eddie Van Halen. That's like legend, Yeah. So we'll talk about that with him because he's the great metal motherfucker. And so we'll get him in the metal segment and beyond tonight. So it should be good. And then as we talked about, we got round 4 of the big Hellcoming contest, the final tonight. Last week, of course, being a tie, so we got our final match tonight where we will crown a winner. And I'll be playing for Chris from Flowery Branch, Georgia. And Chris, who is CK going to be playing for?
CK's got Nyla's Jello from Hollywood, California, baby.
Hell yeah. So we got 2 really good, energetic listeners, both really digging the contest. So it's really fun when we see that. We had the same thing in March Mayhem with Justin and Stephanie, both really
Ready
class acts.
about it, dude.
And
about
these
it.
guys are the same way, so I think that's really awesome. And so whoever wins, it's going to be great. But all the fucking listeners that participated got great prizes.
Yeah, dude.
So we'll talk about that later. But we've got in the cage tonight, Chris. Who is the first tag team that's going in tonight in the cage, man?
It's not on
H.H. Holmes and
Oh,
William
yeah,
Devon
H.H.
Howell
Holmes, William Devon Howell.
going up against who,
Yeah.
Joey?
Master Blaster. Joe Matheny and fucking Jennifer San Marcos.
There you go. So those that's the match tonight. That's going to be brutal. And who's going to win? We'll see.
It would be hilarious if it was Master Blaster, though,
It
just
would be
because
really
that's been
funny.
a thing the entire time.
It would be really funny, and I think we could, if you guys want to. I could open up the list of the weapons, and we could
Oh, yeah,
we could throw out
right.
a few random numbers.
That
with
would be
all-
hilarious,
That would
yeah.
be funny. All right, let's do that. All right, so that'll be good tonight, and we'll see who wins. And of course, the grand prize is getting to be on the segment with us, co-host the murder segment, and a bunch of other cool shit, man. T-shirts and books and stickers and koozies and signed posters. We did it up, man.
Yeah,
So-
all four of them got really good fucking
yeah,
prize
and of
packs.
course,
Yeah, I
Folk
mean,
and
I'm
Nuts,
looking to-
they're sending each of them a one large and one small jar of their peanut butter, which
I'm
is
cracking
the shit.
open the jar right now.
There you
Dude,
go.
for real.
You guys
Hey,
need to
I'm
do
eating
that
this
too.
shit.
No, I'm going to be doing that. Yeah. So huge thanks also to spellboundeffectsandart.com for sponsoring the show. They've been with us for a while now. Talk about Tony Campagna and all
His
the great
shit's so
shit he
badass,
does.
man.
Yeah,
so
he's just
badass.
cranking it out for Halloween, I'm sure.
Oh,
So,
I hope so. I hope.
So-
I hope y'all motherfuckers are out there ordering some shit from him.
Yeah.
just like
he's got a really
Get
good
awesome shit.
catalog. The
even
masks.
order that
fucking-
thumb drive, dude, and
the
just
thumb
like
drive
Pete when
is
he went
cool.
in to goddamn get some copies made. Just
Yeah,
like
freaks some people out.
freak some people out. Like, oh wait, that's a legit thumb drive. Yeah, get it, dude.
And he's got the fucking baby heads. He's got all kinds of sick shit, Chris. If you're digging on the sickness, spellboundeffectsandart.com is where you need to be.
I want that hat still. I'm gonna buy
I know,
it.
dude. I know.
I'm gonna buy it.
We should set up a
Texas.
GoFundMe for Chris to get the
Yeah,
hat.
dude, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, come on, man. No.
Thanks to all you fuckers out there listening to us, though. We keep seeing the numbers rolling in, about 3,000 listens this week. So you guys kick ass. We are at 292,000
Nice.
total listens so far. So we are really getting close to 300. So just keep spreading it like a case of
Fucking
the clap
right,
in a
dude.
fucking trailer park. So
Oh yeah, thank you guys.
and thanks to you guys, we've been added now to Amazon Music. We are on there. I checked that out. Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Pandora, and I believe Alexa's got us on there now. She's obviously a fan because she let us
Obviously,
record
she's a
that
fan,
earlier.
dude.
But you can hear us in a lot of different places, so we appreciate the support. And so, guys, we got a lot on our plate tonight. Going to take a little short trip, though, this time on Highway 74 West to this abandoned asylum in Bartonville, Illinois. We've got a lot of dead patients who want to tell us some stories. So, Chris.
Yeah, man, let's get some freaky shit going, dude.
Led me to a grave. To try again, I'd have no other way.
Hell yeah, man. Some Slayer.
Slayer!
Can't go wrong with that one, Joey. You made the call. You
Yeah.
requested it, man. Criminally
Fucking
insane.
I will say,
Slayer.
I originally asked Pete to karaoke it. And
Yeah.
then it was like, actually, we choose her for buffer music, which is good. And
Fucking
probably
right.
a good call. So I don't know if you could find that song karaoke. Like,
No,
what
and
the
then
fuck?
it's like we talked about in the beginning when Harv,
yeah.
Right.
was
He's
talking about what
like,
the
why
fuck?
don't you do metal songs?
yeah,
Like,
he
dude,
doesn't like the karaoke because of the songs I choose. It's like that's
Yeah.
what makes it funny is
Right.
that the songs are ridiculous.
Yeah.
you know?
Which
If-
you picked a good one for this one. So,
Yeah, I thought so too.
but for buffer me, oh,
Well,
I mean, we
Patsy
had to play
Cline.
the Slayer though.
Yeah, for sure. Of course, from the thrash metal classic Rain and Blood, love that still to this day.
How can
That
you
album
not,
is
dude?
so influential on me because I would have been like 20, 21 when this came out.
Right.
So I was was writing and recording my music and very involved in it. So it was very influential on me, vocal wise, songwriting wise, subject matter, all that stuff.
Because it's fucking
this
Slayer,
album
dude.
was just very, very big of an influence on me.
What's insane is like back then you get a tape, so you get like 10, 12 songs, you know.
Oh yeah.
Flip over the tape, you get to hear the B-side.
Oh yeah.
The B-side was always
Slayer,
great,
Rated
dude.
Blood was so goddamn badass. It was only one side, and you flip it over, you still hear
The
them
same
same
thing,
songs,
yeah.
and you
Fucking
fucking
side.
It was
love
only
it
like
every
40
time.
minutes long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
so-
Live Undead was longer
Sick.
than that one. I
That's
think.
right.
Yep.
That's right. Which is another great one.
So good.
So anyway, this is not the typical topic we would do in a murder segment, but we do dark stuff that doesn't really fit, true crime or serial killer. But this has definitely got enough creepiness and
fucking
darkness.
October, man.
It's pretty much fits exactly the October theme. We've gone to Shakers a couple of times now up in Milwaukee. What an amazing
Dude,
place
you
up
see
there.
that
man.
picture fucking Bob posted the other day with that
Yeah.
fucking girl straight up in it, dude? Like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah, Bob from Shakers, he posted a picture this last week with a really eerie picture from somebody that went on tour there
Yeah,
and snapped it.
Like, holy fuck,
Yeah,
man.
he's had some really interesting ones over the years, but man, we talk about that place a lot. But we do like that sort of thing. And tonight we're going to be talking about the Illinois Asylum for the Incurable Insane. I want a T-shirt with that,
that
on
just
there.
says that on there. Bro,
It's so fucking crazy. I love the name.
it's a new fucking music project name, dude.
Right?
That's where the anesthetist would work.
There you go. There you go. That was located, of course, in Bartonville, which is just 5 miles from Peoria. It was also known as the Peoria State Hospital and the Bartonville Insane Asylum. To most people from around here, that's what they know it as.
And that's what's awesome is for us, it is a local deal.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's going to be, I'm sure, a good number of Central Illinois listeners, because that's where we're from, that are going to listen to this and be like, oh, nice. Or
Yeah.
they'll, probably learn some things they didn't know before.
right.
Now, we're going to do this, obviously, in our dark humor style jokes. It's just what we do. But I did want to go on record as saying that, obviously, I'm sure we would all agree that mental health problems are a real thing and they should be handled with serious medical care. This stuff affects so many people, and there's just not enough mental health facilities and money that goes to it to help people that really need some help. And so we just want you to keep that in consideration listening to this, and not, to take our way of doing this as
Don't
a
take it
slight.
personal.
Not at all.
We're good.
And in addition, each of us have had friends that have fallen to suicide. I know some of our listeners, I'm sure, as well. And that's obviously part of the conversation. So we're just three dudes in a garage who like talking about dark stuff.
That's creepy.
Tossing in our 3 cents, often in the form of, dark, funny, just crazy humor. And we don't normally give warnings, but after doing the research for this, I do feel strongly enough that I did want to at least mention that we do take it seriously. And if you're having any issues, please get some help. All right. Anything you guys want to add to that along those lines?
You know
anything?
anybody you think might have issues, reach out to them, see if they need
Right.
help. Like,
yeah,
actually
because
talk
sometimes
to them.
people
You're
aren't
like,
going to
"Yo, bro."
ask. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's important. I know it's
Definitely.
affected all of us. So
All I wanted was a Pepsi.
That's all I wanted was a Pepsi. Now I'm institutionalized.
So I'd like to start this one out with my first experience with this place, because as you guys may or may not know, I'm not from here originally, from New York and Connecticut. I moved here in 1990.
3 of the members here were born in. You were born in Connecticut.
I was born in New York.
Oh, okay.
I was born in the Bronx. Yeah.
But 3 of us live there, I guess.
yeah,
That's good.
That's true. Pretty random too.
It
Such a
is.
small state.
And since
That
we
is really
now live
funny.
in Illinois in the middle of nowhere.
So I moved out here in 1990, but then I was in the Army. I got back from Desert Storm in 95. I was working for a company that was hired to do an engineering survey of an old boiler house. I didn't know much else, when I got to the place. I didn't know anything about the history of it or any of it. We were just there to assess some environmental hazards for the EPA due to a variety of issues that were going on. The place was a mess. We were wearing Tyvek suits and respirators to protect ourselves, and of course, this is going to draw some media attention, right?
Oh, of course, yeah. Like, why would it not?
Right. And at the time...
the place has already got attention anyway because of what it
got
is.
a lot of, the stigma of this place definitely hung heavy. But us being there, definitely got some interest. So there was, the asylum is closed, but many of these old buildings were being renovated and was used as like an industrial park. So there's a lot of businesses up there in the old property. So you got a lot of traffic. There's people, there's stuff's going on. So it wasn't like we were out in the middle of nowhere. Now, late on the first day, I was asked by this newspaper reporter for the Pekin Times, who was outside the building with the other ones, and he asked if I was scared to go in there, and I'm like, no.
No, why would I be scared?
Yeah, like, why? And he said that he had heard the place was haunted, and he was kind of surprised I didn't know anything about it. And, of course, I told him I wasn't from here. And he said that there was a fire that closed the place down in 73, which later I found out was not correct.
True, right?
But that's what he said. And And many patients escaped the hospital through the tunnels that were underneath the grounds. And I smiled and put my respirator back on, and it was definitely on my mind. I was in my late 20s. Definitely was like, what the hell? That's
really
kind of weird.
Fucking right.
Yeah, and I talked to the guy that I was working with, who was a little older than I am, and he's from there. And I was like, hey, what's this? He's like, oh, yeah, this place, they've been saying it's haunted for years. I'm like, well, thanks for telling me, So we go down in the basement. This is a boiler house. These boilers are like 3 or 4 stories tall. There's 3 or 4 of them. And it heated the entire ground
through the pipes and shit. Yeah.
So it created the steam, and steam fed all the buildings, and then condensate coming back. And it just, it's this massive system. So we're in this basement, and when we go down the stairs, I'll never forget it because we're just like flashlight. It's pitch black in there. And you see these tunnel entrances that were like archways, but they were like, you could walk in them. But they were pitch black. I mean, no light
electricity
whatsoever.
Down there. Yeah. Right, yeah, I'm sure.
And it was damp and dark and creepy as fucking hell. And with this guy telling me that the place is fucking haunted that these patients escaped through the tunnels.
Now you're like,
oh
my God.
I got to go in these motherfuckers, And there was a shitload of them. I mean, we had to draw the whole tunnel system out. It was like this gigantic labyrinth, like one of those mazes you use like in a puzzle book,
right?
Like that.
Yeah, you got to pick which direction you want to go.
It was nuts, dude. So I had chalk, and we used chalk to mark the tunnel so we wouldn't get lost. Thankfully, I just got out of the Army, so I was pretty good with a compass, and we kept ourselves from getting lost because everything looks exactly the same. I mean, you could tell where you were.
Tunnel,
yeah, you could really get lost down there. So it was very dangerous. But so we're doing this, and I just can't help but get this out of my mind. He's got like 50 or 60 buildings and tunnels running to all of them, And so we were down there for a good couple days. We came out at the end of the shift.
I'm sure. I mean, obviously you did.
Right.
Like, yeah.
But it was creepy as hell. And I kept thinking about what that reporter said every time I took a corner. Because I'm like, what if there's a skeleton there,
Somebody died in the tunnel.
Happen,
now you get to find it. Hell
right.
Yeah.
So it was just crazy. And I was just, on edge the whole time. But inspired at the same time because it was so fucking creepy.
Yeah.
I wasn't playing in a band at the time, but I thought I really wanted to do something with it, but I didn't know what. I just thought, write a story, a song, something about this place is so fucking creepy. So soon after we were done, the roads started to cave in the tops of the tunnels because originally when they were dug, there were no cars. So they didn't anticipate road traffic. Right. So once the roads were coming in after the hospital was closed, you had a lot of traffic in there. Now the tunnels are starting to cave in, and so you can't go through it. 20 years later, of course, I wrote my novel 6, which is set at the asylum. So I did honor my request of myself to
Right,
write
like,
something
I'm gonna
about
write
it.
something about
although
this
it
shit.
took me 20 years. And the main character uses the tunnels. I won't spoil the surprise. That book is actually unpublished at this time, but if I ever decide to do it, I didn't want to spoil the end. But the tunnels are a very pivotal part of the story.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and in my 2018 novel, The Dreadful Lives of Enoch Strange, there are some scenes that were set at the asylum.
Yeah.
My favorite one in the chapel with the chapel descending into hell and it's spinning and blood, and it's pretty crazy. But I've always been enamored with this place. I don't really believe in the paranormal.
Right.
But it is very interesting to me. I don't disbelieve, like, I think it's real. I've just never had it happen.
Yeah.
And I know some people just are more susceptible to that. We've talked about this before when we did the Shakers episode.
Yeah.
Love going up there, but I am, pleasantly skeptical of it. But I think it's really fun and interesting. And I think there's something to it. I almost wish I could experience it.
No, that's what I was just about to say. I really wish I could see something. That'd be pretty bad. I'd be like,
it'd be fucked up. I don't know how I would think. I mean, it's easy to say it now, but you see some
but then you see
full
some
body
fucking,
apparition in front of you. That'd be fucked up. So now we're here in 2020. So it's 25 years later. I'm doing this podcast with you guys. The Asylum story has really stuck with me, and I hope you guys, everybody listening, and of course you guys here, Chris and Joey, find it interesting as well. Sorry for the big setup there, but I felt it necessary because of how creepy that was and what
As
that
a personal
stuck with me
experience,
for a long fucking time, Now, the Illinois Asylum for the Incurable Insane was finally opened for business in 1902. Said it's a 215-acre piece of land in Bartonville. 33 buildings. Yeah, Bartonville, kind of a small town. But the location of Bartonville on the Illinois River up on that bluff was the perfect spot. They started with 33 buildings, which included an actual store, housing for the staff, a hospital. They'd later grow to 4 hospitals. So this was like a fucking city up there on this hill. Post office, of course, roads. It's like a town. I mean, you could search on Google for the map of this place. In the beginning, it's pretty simple, and it gets more complicated. At the end, I think there were 60 or 65 buildings there total. So Indians were known to be in the area before, and some have claimed, this is one of the reasons it was haunted. And of course, guys, how many times are horror movies using the old Indian burial grounds?
Right.
About as much as Scooby-Doo uses You Pesky Kids. It's been done to fucking death. However, it's part of the story. There's also coal mines that run underneath there. So, which is pretty common all over here where we are. A lot of coal mines that were abandoned and left in place.
And a lot in Southern Illinois, too. Real bad in Southern Illinois.
Oh, yeah. One of the guys I did training for, he was a miner, and he retired, but he still did it part-time, and the money was just like stupid. But very dangerous work going in those coal mines.
Yeah,
so hats off anybody doing that.
Especially back in this time, because they didn't have all the fucking
safety stuff.
The fucking canary.
Yeah, exactly. That's
sure,
what I'm saying. Fuck that.
So the name was officially changed a couple of times. So it was only the Illinois Asylum for the Incurable Insane until 1909 when it finally became the Peoria State Hospital.
Somebody walked up and they're like, wait, what's this called?
Yeah.
Are you fucking serious?
I'm not bringing my mom here. Fuck you. That sounds scary.
She's curable and she's not insane. She just needs a little help, dude. Fuck.
Right? So since it does lie in Peoria County, that's why it got the name Peoria State Hospital. Many of the locals refer to it as the Bartonville Insane Asylum, as I mentioned. So I just wanted to be clear to everybody that we're talking about the same place.
Yeah,
because it does have some different names.
Any of those 3 names, if one of us says it, it's the same place.
It's all the same thing.
And if you look up Bartonville, Illinois, that's all you'll find anyway.
Right. Honestly,
if you Google Bartonville, that's what you're going to find. It sat on the top of a bluff, as I mentioned, overlooking the Illinois River, close to some train tracks, which, of course, at the time this was built in the late 1800s, You're talking, that's the primary mode of transportation is train
Right.
for
And that's how
people
you're getting shit to
and
towns.
goods. So, it was a good spot for it.
They were
There's
just shipping insane people in by the fucking load.
That's right. That's right.
Shit, man.
There was a lot to the history of this building that we're not going to get into here. But as with most subjects, there's a lot of different accounts. And I even found this interesting about the founding of the hospital itself. If you look at Wikipedia, and I know we joked here recently about a podcast I was listening to where they were literally reading it right off Wikipedia.
Right.
And I knew because I was looking at it, I'm like,
Yeah.
you're reading this, And so Wikipedia has its pros, but there's a lot of cons. And one of it is the information may not be right. They don't even mention this women's group that founded the hospital in this Wikipedia article.
Oh, yeah.
All
yeah.
they talk about was that it was, this Illinois, some sort of, group that the state commissioned to set this
Yeah, it was
up.
some women's
but
group.
the women's group was the one that actually did it.
Yeah, I saw that because of everybody getting sent to the poorhouses and everything.
Well,
Like,
yeah,
we
it
need
was really
something
bad. These
different.
women wanted to do something, to help. And like you said, Chris, they got these, people that are sick in these almshouses, these
Right, yeah.
basically warehouses of people. And it was just the
Basically
most
a
horrible
barn.
living conditions, really, really bad. Now, one of the women in the group, her husband was the mayor of Bartonville, which I'm sure helped. And they got this land from the state, and then they were able to use all the money they raised to build the buildings. And they built some really amazing stuff, but the main admin building, the Bowen building, was a piece of shit. The hospital was the main building was built very shoddy, and they had to tear it down before they even opened it and rebuilt it.
See, I'd seen one thing that said it was built on top of one of those coal mines and it kind of collapsed, and the structural integrity of the building wasn't good anymore.
And that's very possible. That's very
So
possible.
I don't know if
I
that's
saw
true,
conflicting things about that, if it was because of the mines underneath the ground
or if it was just shit work.
I
and
also saw that they came in, and Zeller, whenever he came in, was like, this isn't
what I want. Yeah, I saw that too.
This isn't a welcoming place for these people.
Right. Yeah, because it was more of the classic insane asylum, looked
Right.
like a fucking castle, I
tell you
mean, this place is a little scary when
Yeah.
it was in its day, but not like it was originally.
I'll tell you the coolest shit for me, being from here and knowing you, is I've been to the Bartonville, but I've never been in the tunnels, of course, nothing like that. But I've seen the grounds and stuff. But
Yeah.
then reading the books, Enoch, Strange, and also Six,
Right.
you could tell. I could tell because I'd been there where your basis was for all that stuff.
Right.
And especially reading Enoch, whenever you're talking about the grounds and shit, like I could picture it
Right.
because I've seen the grounds and it was
Right.
really neat,
cool.
with the correlation between that.
That's cool. That's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, thanks. I've had several people from around here that read Enoch Strange and liked the fact that I used the local site for
super cool.
for some of it. So, but anyway, these women, they lobbied. They were able to get this thing happening, and it's known as the Bowen Building. And they went with the cottage style asylum. So they built these houses where they would group all the like ailments,
Yeah, right. Whether you got
schizophrenics,
schizophrenia or you got a little bit of
alcoholics,
dementia.
whatever different
Yeah.
places they had them.
Separate them into groups.
Right.
Segregation. It
Right.
works in that sense.
In that sense. Right. And they had a husband and wife run each of the homes so that there would be a woman there and a man to deal with either,
Right.
and they could keep the peace. And it was more of a family style setup with the eating together as a family. And these people loved this place. I mean, these people were treated, Chris, you mentioned it, man, these fucking almshouses were horrible. I mean, they were like warehouses,
Right.
and a lot of sickness and dysentery, and it's just horrible.
And when you come into Dr. Zeller's place, dude, it's totally different. It's like,
Yeah.
holy shit.
He really seemed like he gave a shit.
Right. He 100%
And
did.
these
I
people,
feel
a
like.
lot of them didn't have shit because if you were curable, that's what the significance of that word incurable.
Incurable, yeah.
If you're curable, they kept you in the regular hospitals.
Right.
if they deemed you incurable, then
You're
they
going
were
here.
like, get out of here.
And that you're locked up.
You're either on the street or you're in one of those almshouses.
Yeah.
And those were terrible places. So to those people, being accepted in a more family loving type environment, so much of a change. I can't imagine it, because none of us, of course, ever been in that situation. But the more you read of Dr. George Zeller, who was the first superintendent, from the beginning, a very unique man on how he looked at this whole thing. He was an army doctor. He was not a psychiatrist. He was I don't know if he was a surgeon
Or a medic.
but
or
he was
whatever.
an army doctor.
Yeah, he was.
But he ran the place with compassion.
Right,
So,
and you could tell like some of his pictures. I guess that,
He
like,
looks
you can
like
see him. You
military.
can tell he's military and shit. Yeah,
now, Chris, during the 1800s, we talked about how brutal healthcare was for the the people with mental issues, putting patients in these fucking Utica cribs, straitjackets, lobotomies, and a lot of things that we see in like horror movies. and
lobotomies are the shit.
fucked
though.
up, man. So I mean, it's just crazy to think that's how they treated the mentally ill at that time.
It is pretty fucked up, and they would do that to pretty much anybody in there because, like you said, they pretty. The first way they did it, everybody was together, so they just treat everybody the same.
Right.
And those people just, I saw some shit people just be into a divorce thing, and they're just like, hey, this bitch is fucked up, and just drop their wife off there, like,
Oh yeah,
just to get out of fucking goddamn divorce shit.
right.
Like, no,
It was
she's
very
crazy,
easy for a
and
man
just
to
drop
put a
mother-
woman in
yeah.
that hospital.
It's like,
for just
holy
about
shit,
anything.
dude.
Yeah, pretty scary shit.
And they just go with it like, oh, all right, cool.
Right.
Now
Yeah.
let's lobotomize her. What the fuck, dude?
There was one story I heard where it was a husband and wife in a nice car drove up. A 6-year-old boy got out and they left. And every day that kid was there. He grew up as an adult
Right.
into that place. Every day he was there, he would sit out on those steps and see if they were going to come back for him. I mean,
Oh, damn,
that's
dude.
fucking awful. I mean, absolutely awful. So there was some real misery in this place, which may lend itself to the paranormal stuff that we're going to get into. So very interesting. And certainly, just like Shakers with all the stuff that happened there, those types of events sometimes can have an impact, whether it be the energy of the place or, we've all been in places before where you just feel like a sense of dread versus some places feel more upbeat.
Every time I walk in the door at work, man, shit.
So definitely ahead of his time. No locks on the doors, other than the 2 wards where the violent inmates were kept, or patients, I should say, were kept. But no bars on the windows. Actually took the bars off and made a fucking zoo out of it, which is pretty funny.
Right.
But at the time, Dr. Zeller was known as an alienist, which is a doctor who treated mental patients. So the alienist thing is like, huh? Like, what do the aliens have to do with this? But it's not that. His methods were definitely scoffed at the beginning, but then they were known the world over. He ran the place from 1902 to 1913, and I read that there was some big political drama, like somebody
he was
change of
Republican
office.
and the Democrat came into
Yeah,
Senate
so he
or
was
some
out,
shit like
and
that.
he got relocated to Alton to start a hospital there down in southern Illinois, right? Isn't
Yeah,
that
it's
where
down
Alton-
by St. Louis.
That's
yeah.
what I thought. And so while he was gone, though, the hospital reverted back to the way the mental hospitals were done at that time, very barbaric. So when Zeller came back in 1921, he brings his wife Sophie with him. They wind up staying there until he retired, and then they just lived in this apartment up in the attic.
Dude,
so
I-
pretty crazy.
Right.
I think it's crazy that when he came back and shit and everything turned to shit, not his ways or whatever.
Right.
He admitted himself into
Yeah,
the hospital
to
as a
experience
patient,
it.
to experience the treatment for 3 days.
Yep.
And then after that,
He made the staff
he made the
do it.
staff
For
do it
8 hours.
For 8 hours.
He went
like
3
you go
days
through
on
what
each
they go
ward.
through every fucking
wow.
day, and he made them all do it for 8 hours, dude. And they went through it, and that's when they changed it back up. Like, all right, I get it.
And that's pretty fucking smart. He took the bars, as I said, and made a zoo so that the patients had animals to, help take care of. They loved it. And
Like a legit zoo too. They had decent animals there.
He did. He took the Utica cribs and made like rabbit hutches out of them. And stuff.
He took all the bars and shit, made cages for like bears and shit like that. Like for real, like he had it legit for them.
I know.
And it was open to the public too.
That's right. It was. It's pretty cool stuff. He also flew to Denmark to learn about this cutting edge color therapy. So you had all these things going on in this little town, Bartonville. So both Dr. and Mrs. Zellers actually died at the hospital after they retired. Before the asylum was built, most of the mental patients at that time, as I said, were looked at as worse than animals. They were treated in these almshouses who were, you know, if they were of people of means, the places weren't too bad. But if you were poor, they were warehousing you. They figured you didn't feel hot or cold. So there's no air, there's no heat. I mean,
it was back then. There was no air anyway.
True.
No ventilation of any type.
There was no regard whatsoever for
their
their comfort. The food was probably horrible. They probably didn't get a whole lot of it. It was just a nasty situation. So this was just how it was done. So that's why this is such a big deal. Now, Dr. Zeller heard of a woman near Jacksonville, Illinois named Rhoda Derry. And if you want to check this shit out, Google that name. And
that's a
do a little research. It's
like
very interesting.
Like not as a brutal rerun, but as a bonus or something. Maybe we might just do an episode on.
We very
her.
well could, because her story is pretty interesting. As a young woman, she falls in love with this guy whose mom does not want her around
at all.
And the mom thinks she's a witch, right?
Yeah, something
so
like that.
She casts
like a witch.
this spell on her.
Right. She's like, you're a witch, so I don't want you around my kid. If you stay around, I'm going to curse you. It's like, wait, ain't that the same
right?
shit?
Are you a witch?
Right. Ain't
right?
you a witch? Fuck.
So oddly, though, Rhoda has this mental breakdown because the relationship is over. And she winds up getting committed to the Adams County Poor Farm, which is over there by Quincy. Back then, if you were considered curable, they cared for you. But if not, you're deemed incurable and put in one of these almshouses. So fucking awful shit. And Chris, I just can't get over how sad it is, you know, these people were actually treated like this.
Dude.
I mean, it's a different time.
It's like throwaway
goddamn.
people. I know it's a different time, but it's just like throwaway people. Like, oh, my
That's a good way to talk about it.
My brother can't take care of himself. Fuck
Right.
it, I'll throw it away.
Yeah.
Fucking don't give a shit.
It's terrible, man.
And especially when it's like your family just giving you up like that.
Right.
Just
to
like
that,
what the
too.
fuck,
They
man?
know it's not going to be good. You
Right.
know?
Yeah. You just throw them in there like, I know what happens here, but you still,
Right.
that's where
Oh,
you're
well.
going because I can't deal
Yeah,
with it.
I don't want to deal with this.
God damn it, dude.
Yeah,
I
it's
couldn't even
fucked up.
imagine. But
It's
on the
fucked.
same time, I do it to Michael.
Well, Michael's different. He likes disturbed. So Rhoda is kept in what is known as a Utica crib, which is, oh my God, if you look at pictures of these damn things, it's like the size of a baby's crib, but it's got a lid on it. So they put the person in there. But if you're an adult, you're like in the fetal position.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not like lounging out in this fucking thing. I mean, you're in the fetal position, tucked in, because you're like maxing this thing out. And this would be done for people that sleepwalk or could hurt themselves, which I get it. But it's one thing to sleep in it, but she like lived in this thing.
Yeah, and there was like
for
rodents like
44
nesting
years.
in with her, dude. Yeah. Did you see that though?
What's
like,
that?
It was like the straw and shit that was in there with her
Yeah.
that she slept on. It was like rats and shit that built nests in with her that were living underneath her in the fucking straw.
Oh, wow.
So I couldn't even imagine that either, dude. Like,
yeah, I did not know that. That's fucking wow. That's absolutely horrible. So this poor woman is put in this damn thing. Now this Utica bed was actually invented in France in 1845, but was actually refined in Utica, New York, which is where a well-known mental asylum is. So that's where, of course, it gets its name. And again, to think you're in this thing for 44 years, I mean, that's fucked.
I couldn't even imagine 40 minutes.
No.
Right. She actually gouged out her own eyes, then punched out her front teeth.
Which is fucked up.
That's fucked up. And you see pictures of her. It's really scary looking.
Yeah.
There's not many pictures, but there are some.
Her own front teeth, like punched them out, gouged out her own eyes. But I don't know if this is true. I did see one thing. Was she blind already?
I
saw one thing. And
I
nothing
didn't
else
read
I
or see
saw.
that.
Okay,
but
all right.
If
Then I'm
she
gonna
was,
go-
it would be in this book that Sylvia Schultz wrote called 44 Years in Darkness, which is about Rhoda's story. It's crazy. I did not get a chance to read a lot of it, but I did read some. It's really good stuff, though. But these almshouses are terrible, so these people wouldn't have known what to do. But Dr. Zeller heard about her, wanted her at the hospital. So the orderlies are taking the stuff off the train and all the patients that were sent over for the day, and they grab this, what looked like a dirty laundry basket, bring it upstairs.
And it's
her. And she's in there.
It's
and
moving around. They're like, what the shit?
Right.
Fucking move the sheets and she's inside.
Yeah.
like,
so,
holy crap, there's a person in here.
Yeah.
What
And
the
so
fuck?
she was
packed and
obviously
shipped
very
her.
disturbed. They wound up getting her cleaned up and changed. And she really took to Dr. Zeller, and all the staff were like so amazingly nice to her. I mean, she was treated extremely well there after being horribly
And
treated
I think
for those
Dr.
years.
Zeller was basically the only one she'd really react
Trusted.
to and
Yeah.
shit, right?
I think so. Yeah. So I just the story of her really break your heart. It's terrible. But as we talked about, patients were dropped off to this asylum every day. People, dropping off kids. As we talked about, homeless people would end up there. People no one cared about, but they were being cared for by very good staff that was well trained. And like we said, Zeller had him going undercover to experience what it was like to be a patient there. I think that's a pretty good way to get the point across of you
And
better
no,
treat these people
no
right.
bars, no locks, no nothing. Like they
could come and
came
go.
here for help.
Yep.
Other than the violent people.
That's right. That's right. Now, most of the patients were buried in one of the 4 cemeteries on the property. Zeller lived as a patient, as we talked about, and the fact that he did that, I think, was just very, very commendable.
Yeah, that was huge because back then they had no way to dispose of the bodies properly, like a lot of the bigger asylums or whatever.
Right.
And they had the problems with the bodies. So he was like, okay, why don't we just create a graveyard back here and bury them?
Right.
And he had people, I'm pretty sure he said people that were committed, like some of them, were on the people who dug the graves,
Right.
and did all the what I'm saying?
Oh, sure.
Did the work for the graveyards.
Yeah, they worked for the people that could work.
Yeah.
That's for sure. So there were 4 cemeteries total there. I don't know where he was buried, actually, when he died. But Joey Rhoda dies in 1906. She's only been there 4 years, but she was cared for. Those pictures of her are fucking scary.
Yeah.
I've seen the pictures. Like, holy crap, dude.
Looks like something out of like Auschwitz or something
Yeah,
like
like,
that.
for real
Really
like
bad.
that.
Yeah.
Like, to be honest, though, a lot of those pictures, like even just the pictures of Zeller and some of his fucking staff sitting around, look straight out of fucking House on Haunted Hill. You know?
Sure. They looked like that back then.
Yeah, that's like creepy anyway.
Yeah.
But no, the pictures of Rhoda, that's fucked up.
It is fucked up. Now, many of the patients at the asylum had tuberculosis, so the Pollock Hospital was built on the grounds. This building, still standing today, and is used for haunted houses to raise money for the high school sports program in Bartonville, and to keep the building upkeep and stuff.
Dude.
So
I
that's
haven't
really
been
cool.
there. I've heard good things about that.
I've
haunted
never
house.
been to that one either, but I have
I've heard good things about it though. Like
Yeah.
it's pretty badass. I've heard.
I've never been in it. Now, Sylvia, who wrote this book, she mentions it several times, and she said it was the most haunted building on the property, much more haunted than the Bowen building, which I had been to a couple different times and used a lot in my writing.
Right.
But the Bowen building was an administration building. There were nurses there, but it was
not so
mostly
much
admin.
patience. Yeah, not so much patience.
Right. There was a morgue there. There was the lobotomy room there, and there was the nurses' housing. And then all the patients were in different places.
Right.
So there were a lot of people that died at this hospital. You know, tuberculosis is fucking awful. Some people claim, you know, you could hear the coughing, you could taste the blood. Actually, that would be fucked up, because when tuberculosis patients cough, they bleed.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
why a lot of them had the red handkerchief.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. The red hanky.
Yeah, that's just fucking scary looking shit.
If you see somebody
pull out
with a
the
red handkerchief back in the day, you're like, that motherfucker.
you got consumption.
Yeah.
Yeah,
got
it's
the
funny
COVID.
how they called that consumption tuberculosis, you know.
Because
But
it consumes you, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, probably. And so I'm very skeptical of the paranormal stuff, but as I said, I do find it incredibly interesting. Now, another well-known patient of the hospital was a catatonic man that was found in a bookbindery in Chicago. He was unable to speak, no identification, so they had to come up with a name for him,
The
Chris.
bookbinder, man. Manual A bookbinder.
Old
Manuel
book.
A. Bookbinder.
Yeah, old book.
Old Book is what they called him. He lived at the hospital. You know what's funny is you picture Old Book as this like 70-year-old man. He died in his 30s.
Right.
But back then you were old, you know, like Old Book. Like he's a 70-year-old, 80-year-old guy. And he's actually died in his 30s. So pretty crazy. But he worked there, as we talked about him digging the graves. He loved doing it. He really got into it, worked very hard. He took pride in his work and could outwork anybody else. He was just
It's
amazing.
about that life.
He worked from sun up to sundown, just loved to work. And since a lot of the patients didn't have anybody there to mourn, he would do it, and he would wail,
dude,
and
like
cry,
cry
like
at one
hysterically.
this certain tree. There was was it an elm tree?
There was an elm tree, yes, where he would go over to it and weep,
Yeah.
and just cry and cry
Every
for the
person
patient,
that got buried
you know?
every time.
And so I saw this one documentary that had this little rhyme on it that said, "If the bookbinder doesn't crow into heaven, we will not
saw
go."
that. I saw that.
Yeah, that one was kind of hokey, but the information was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But it, you know, talks about how these patients thought that if Old Book wasn't there at your funeral, you weren't going to heaven. So
Which was
they were.
I mean, it's pretty fucking superstitious about
Yeah.
old bookbinder.
They were. Now, Chris, did you see what happens after he dies in 1910 with his funeral?
It's pretty messed up
What's
because
about
like after
that,
he's old book dies, they're burying him, and as they're putting his casket down in the ground, they really feel like it's empty, and then they swear they see old book standing by that elm tree, fucking crying, and it was so much enough that Zeller had him bring it up to open the casket to make sure he was in there, and he was, and as soon as they opened the casket, the crying stopped, fucking.
Right.
So it's pretty fucked up, right? And like multiple people.
There's
claim to have seen
300 people. There's an aerial shot or a shot where you could see the whole crowd. There's like
Right.
300 people there.
I said we saw that. Yeah, that's
Pretty
fucked
fucked
man.
up. And you got Dr. Zeller himself is claiming.
Yeah, it's like,
this.
hold on, bring that motherfucking
He
thing
wrote
back
that.
up here. I
Yeah,
want
he
to
wrote
make
all
sure.
that shit in his ledger.
He did.
Yeah.
He
He kept
seriously
it.
believed that for
He
sure.
did, and he wanted to show them he's really in the ground because he knew this is never going to die if the people think he's still out there crying. and
Right.
Pretty fucked up. And I don't know if I mentioned it or not, but that they had tried to cut that tree down like two or three
I
different
saw
times.
that, and they had to stop doing it because
'Cause
every
it was
time
crying?
they put it, the tree was crying every time they hit it with an axe or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck, dude? that freaked me out though.
That
I mean,
would,
I
dude.
mean,
That's
if you
fucked
really
up.
believe that, like, fucking,
Right.
you're like, oh fuck, dude.
So eventually it rotted and it fell away and it was
Right.
done. But yeah, I mean that's a really crazy story. And this, like you said, Chris, the superstition thing with these guys. Now there's a Ghost Hunters special that was shot up there at Bartonville. Sylvia Schultz is interviewed on it. She later said that she had never seen the show or really knew much about it. So she likes to do the paranormal stuff from the things I've heard her talk about, but she didn't really, I guess, wasn't crazy about the show after the fact. They got some interesting stuff. I'll mention it later. But I believe, they believe, I should say, that some of what they got was from Old Book himself. So definitely have some things to mention about my own experiences there as well, or lack thereof. There was a suicide there at the hospital when it closed in 73. This is a sad story. There was a patient there who did maintenance work, and like Old Book, he loved his job and he loved being able to work, and he just loved the hospital, and it hurt him so bad that he wound up hanging himself in the elevator shaft from the attic. And when they do the ghost tours, you go right up there. I've got a bunch of pictures I took up on the stairwell that leads to that,
Down to that
shaft,
shaft,
and
right.
took a lot of pictures, never got anything. But like I said, it's interesting to me. There was a band that was going to do a music video up there. I think there is a video out there of a band. I'm not sure what the band's name was, but that was supposed to do a video shoot up there.
I don't know.
I don't think it was
too.
metal. If it was, it wasn't like one of the bands like we would know.
It wasn't Disturbed.
No, I don't think it was. I don't think it was Brittany Fox either. But there's thousands of people buried there, including Rhoda Derry, including Bookbinder. I don't believe the Zellers were buried there, but they really should have been because they were such an integral part of it. And the cemeteries are not in the best of shape, but you can go up there and take a look. The big main cemetery, a lot of the graves, the stones are over.
Right.
They've fallen. A lot of them are just numbered, so you don't even know who's there.
Yeah.
It just has their number, and then when they died, I think the year or the day they died, I'm not quite sure. They're all a little different. Then there's some sections where they've actually got like Old Book and Rhoda Derry have actually tombstones that their names and stuff on them. So, but it really did seem like, Joey, that Zeller was pretty good guy. I mean, it seemed to be.
I mean, they said he was the bringer of all the peaceful tactics and everything they tried to do with mental health at the time, in a time that was recovering from barbaric situations.
Right.
They even said that as soon as he had died, though, like the happy days were over and the hospital went back to insulin shock therapy.
Right.
The lobotomies you talked about came back, and then at that time, going to the mid of the century, electroconvulsive therapy was really big. Mm-hmm. And it's like,
I know.
So he had worked all that to get it away,
and they brought it right back.
Yeah, they brought it right back. It's
so
fucking crazy.
Fucked up.
Yeah,
it really is. Now, a private owner ran the ghost tours out of the Bowen building for a few years. Prior to that, you had a lot of kids going in there, 20 years plus of, partying and kids.
It's the hangout spot.
Exactly. Perfect for ghost stories told for generations. There was a homeless guy that got into the tunnels and went up into the Bowen building and died in there. So the place has had its share of weird things, death, and, the Indian burial ground stuff on top of it. It's got all the ingredients for a ghost story. But Dr. Zeller did genuinely seem like a good person.
No, he's straight up for real did.
Yeah, he really did. That's pretty cool. Now, my late wife was really into the paranormal and went on my trips to Bartonville to take video and pictures. We did that. Went with her a couple of times and got some interesting stuff, I got to say. As skeptical as I am, we could see like faces in some of the windows when we took pictures up there. Some weird purple flare on some of the pictures that didn't seem to make sense with the way the sun was hitting the camera over by where the crying tree was.
Right.
So pretty crazy shit. Now, I don't know, Joey, did you see the Ghost Hunters episode where they actually went there?
I haven't seen the whole episode, but I did see the footage, that they had that they had taken, and supposedly Old Book was that's who they're going to say, of course. But they had reasons for why they said it was him. But like I said, I didn't see that whole episode, but I did see most of the footage that they had shot.
Yeah, they got some weird sounds up in the attic. They got some, it looks like a figure walking the tree line in one of the cemeteries. That's what they
like
think
the
could
most
have been Old
prominent
Book.
one. Yeah.
That was pretty creepy.
Yeah.
I got to give it to him there. But some interesting things.
I got friends that I can pay too, man.
Right. I know. And that's what you wonder with those kind of shows, like how much of it is real. You never know.
Right.
I remember I had a class one time with a bunch of guys that were from Louisiana. And I was like, oh, man, I love that show Swamp People. And they're like, oh, that's a bunch of bullshit. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
They were telling me, like, it's all bullshit.
It's all like, ain't none of that how it's done,
They
dude.
said it's so much worse than what they show, like how it's actually done,
Right.
that there's no way you could put that shit on a TV. So
I
was
believe
like,
that.
man, you're like telling me like there's no Santa. Like, that's fucked up.
Right.
Because I really used to love that show. I can't watch it anymore.
Dude,
It
it'll totally
it
ruin
seems
you.
dumb, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, if it's something that you're really into, it was like, dude, I grew up and I fucking love Creedence Clearwater Revival. Like, I still love CCR. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But there was a time somewhere in my teens when I found out that these Bayou folk that I've been listening to and loving were actually from Southern California.
Right.
And I was like, hold on, that's just like totally. I pictured them fucking in alligator farms and shit, you know.
No, like,
And then to find out where they were from was just a little disheartening. Like I said, it's not like I don't like the music any less, but it's
I
just
know.
one of those
It
things
ruins it.
you get an outline in your head of something,
Right.
and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I was way off.
Right?
yeah, and that's
Born on the
bullshit.
bayou.
Yeah,
That's funny.
you're right. They didn't say that, so
Right.
they did fucking
They straight
catfish
said,
me.
born on a bayou.
Right. So the Bowen Building tours were closed down about 2 years ago. The building is now demolished, unfortunately, the Bowen Building. The Pollock Hospital where they do the haunted houses is still there,
Still, right.
Yeah,
as far as I know. The town of Bartonville was really glad to get this fucking thing down because they were sick and tired of the notoriety of this hospital and all the stigma of it. The ghost tours, they're just kind of tired of it. A woman I worked with went on one of the tours that I was on, and she had a really fucked up occurrence in one of the rooms. She felt something really cold and then grab her shoulder, and she turned around and there was nobody there, and she like ran out of the room. And I was in the hallway outside the room she was in, and she came out and she was like white as a sheet.
Right.
She was freaked
Ghost
out.
white, hell
She
yeah.
had something happen to her, but again, I didn't. So, you know, I'm not saying she didn't. I'm just saying that I did not. And so when it was known on the tours, and I told her and I told my daughter when we went on our tour, because I went through it twice, I told them both, please don't say anything while we're on the tour that I was in those tunnels, because I'm here to enjoy myself.
Right.
I don't want to have to get up in front of a fucking microphone and talk to the tour about what it's like in the tunnels, because when you did the tour, you could see one of the tunnel entrances was totally bricked off, so you couldn't
Right.
even get to it. The other one had like a metal grating over it, so you could see in it,
Right,
but
right.
you couldn't go in it. So of course everybody's like, "Wow, what's that?" You know, like that's going like further.
Didn't want Katie to be like, Dad, weren't you in there?
And both of them did it to me. So yeah, so I had to get up there and fucking explain it all, and it's pretty crazy. And even when I did the survey there in '95, the pictures from our survey were in the museum upstairs.
shit.
From pictures of the tunnels, because I'm like, oh yeah, there's one of
Yeah.
our pictures. There's another one, but they had really cool stuff in that museum. So it was really cool to be a part of it. I mentioned earlier that the reporter, you know, that told me about the fire, you know, from all the reading and different things I've done about this place, I've never seen
ever
anything to back
have I
that
seen
up.
anything, heard anything, read anything.
No.
Nothing.
Now, the book I've referenced, 44 Years in Darkness by Sylvia Schultz, is really good. As we mentioned, it's about Rhoda Derry's story. If that interests you, go check it out. She's from here in Central Illinois. Really nice lady. She's a writer. She's written other books, too. She did one about demonology, which I don't have, but it sounds really interesting. I did an appearance with her a couple times in 2019 at some different libraries and bought her book. She signed it and wrote a little inscription for me. I've heard her guest on a couple of podcasts. She's really informative. She knows a lot about this place. The one that I liked that I heard called History Goes Bump, episode 94 had her on there. It was very informative. It's like a two-parter, but it was very well done. Pretty PG-13. Not like listening to us, but still interesting.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Now, Dr. Zeller wrote a book as well. You can also watch quite a bit of the ghost tour stuff if you like that on YouTube. There's a lot of it out there. There's a lot of good stuff on the internet, various websites devoted to telling the story. And you could read all about the same stuff we read.
Yeah, like,
it's out there.
It's out there. It's one of those ones you gotta kind of search for shit.
Yeah, you got to look around. Plenty of the haunted stuff, though, if that's your thing.
all kinds of the haunted stuff.
Yeah. The cemeteries are open, so you can go see them. You could go see where Old Book is and where Rhoda is. If you live around here, or if not, you're passing through, go check it out. It's not hard to find. You can find them right
Google
online.
Bartonville, and that'll be boom.
Yeah, and they show, you can get maps where it shows where the hospitals or the cemeteries are, because some of them you have to walk a little way to get to it. But they're all there. You just have to know where to park and where to go in. And you got to watch where you park, because these are businesses.
Yeah.
So you got to look for the signs. Don't park where it says do not park, or they'll tow your ass out or ticket you. So, and I've been told that they're pretty aggressive with it because they get sick of people, especially this time of year, going up there to, check shit out and just be a pain in the ass.
Right.
So, if that's your thing, go take a look. Anything you guys want to add to this story?
I think we did pretty all right, man. I don't know,
First
you got
creepy
anything,
story
Casey?
of October.
The only thing I have to add is not even anything creepy to do with it, but I was just surprised as I was looking it up, Bartonville, which is only like 8,000 people.
Right.
But Mike Dunn and Jim Tomei both went to school there, which are both Major League Baseball players.
Right.
Or were,
Right.
And I didn't realize they both went to that high school over there, so that was pretty
That's
cool.
fucking
Yeah,
cool.
Limestone High School.
Yep, exactly.
Yep. Yeah, because there's a lot of limestone there. That's what was, I think the Bowen building was built of limestone.
yeah, it was.
So it was a very impressive structure at the time, at least when they fixed it after the first version of it didn't work. Now, I'm not totally done writing about this place. I have considered, my next novel would be called Dominus, which would involve some scenes in this asylum. That would be the third novel I've written that has something to do with that place. And I've always thought I would do a third one, and then that would be it, and I'd do something else. So I did write a short story that was in my Creation of Chaos 2 called I Am Dominus, which is the first chapter. So if you're interested in this, you can read that if you like that sort of thing, and see what I put a twist on.
Make it
What
good.
might have happened at the Peoria State Hospital.
Oh, yeah.
If
It's
some shit went
definitely not
crazy.
what really happened, but
No, right, of course, yeah. I'm also thinking about doing a short story about a grave digger called Digger, but it would be kind of based on Old Book story, but loosely based. It might even bring a little of the Rhoda story and make it
Into
into
it,
one person, and then have him be the grave digger.
Actually, make Old Book an old dude,
not.
not a
Yeah, an
30
old guy. Yeah. Right, not 33. Yeah, for sure. Remember what I said earlier, though, about mental health? We talked about that. It is a serious thing, and if you know anybody having some issues, or it's you, reach out and help them out. All right?
Say something. Don't be
Yeah.
like me and be like, I'm good.
Right, because it's not going to help anybody. There's a lot of suicide hotlines out there, people to reach out to, especially
weed to
right
smoke.
now with people more shut in and not getting out like they were. It fucks with people, man.
Yes, it does.
Now, one last thing I wanted to mention about this subject. In June of 1906, Dr. Zeller went to Washington, D.C. to testify about the condition of the state hospitals. He told them that, about his methods and his experiences. He also compared the mentally ill to, I thought this was interesting, quote, trees in the winter, unquote, meaning that they may be dormant but can be brought back to spring. So very interesting way to look at it.
Dude, he was pretty progressive for fucking
really
back
was.
in his day for what he was doing.
Early
dude. Like,
1900s, man. That's pretty
who the
impressive
fuck would have
shit.
thought anybody back then would even give a fuck that much?
Right.
Normally, just like,
Right.
treat them like everybody else.
And I don't know if they're related, but the founder, if you ever go, next time you're at Avani's, they have the plaque on the wall in the lobby of the founder of Avani's. Last name is Zeller. I wonder if they're related. Because I know it started in the Peoria area.
Yeah, we grew up with a guy named Zeller, who was one of our good friends.
Yeah, I wonder if there's any relation. So who knows? The next time, though, we're going to be doing one you brought up, Joey. We're going to be doing an interesting case next week.
Yeah, Yuba County 5 out in California.
Yeah.
Motherfuckers died.
Well, a very, very creepy story.
Yeah.
Very uncertain of what the hell happened. 5 guys, mentally challenged, went to a basketball game and never came home. They were just vanished and then are found months later in this fucked up situation in the woods. It's crazy. 1978 in California. So
I've been so excited about this one because I just wanted to sit down and talk about it because it's such a weird case.
It is.
The facts to it aren't really there, so there's a lot to be left to the imagination, which is what is so fun for us to do with this one. Oh, yeah.
I agree. It's going to be a good discussion, I'm sure, between the three of us here. So we'll talk about that next week. So it'll keep the creep factor going in October. So, all right. Well, we've done our fair share of murder tonight. I think I hear that fucking train coming in. Some music. CK ready to throw down some metal knowledge. So, Joey, what do we need to do?
Let's get our metal on.
Known the world over as the master of metal, the crusher of posers, and Murder Metal Mayhem's knower of all things metal, hailing from Wild Van Street in Danbury, Connecticut, standing at 6 feet of brutal, punishing madness, weighing in at 220 pounds of poser pulverization, the one, the only, toughest bastard on the planet, Chris C.K. Kovacs! Motherfucker! What's up, dude?
What's up?
Fucking A, man. Doing that Tuesday thing. Got Joey in here with us, of course.
Yes, sir.
And we are all ready for some metal tonight. We just got creeped out in the insane asylum and the creepy tunnels and the patients gouging their eyes out. And
gouging my eyes out with my fingernails.
So
nothing new.
Nothing new. Nothing new, right? So we're here talking to you, and of course we're in metal, and that means we got some good metal to bestow upon our listeners. You picked a good one, fits the theme of the month, and a band I don't know a whole lot about, but I do like. So, what's up with the?
I don't think too many people know too much about this band. I mean, they have a cult following, but
yeah.
They're out of England.
Another UK band, man.
Another UK band. That's 2 in a row.
Were they on the same label as your Lost Classic?
No.
No, I couldn't remember. I was like, were they both on?
No, because you're thinking Southern Lord, right?
Yep.
Yeah, no. Well, they're on a Doom label. They were on a Doom label,
right?
But,
no, that's what I was curious. Yeah, Southern Lord. I couldn't remember if they put out a CD on there or not.
Yeah, it would make sense.
Right.
But the band I'm talking about is Orange Goblin.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
Out of England. And they formed in 1995, so they've been around for 25 years, and I don't think a lot of people realize that this band has been around that long. But they formed in 95, and they originally were a 5-piece. And shit, lost my notes. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Don't lose shit.
Good.
They went blank. So they formed in 1995. Originally, they were called Our Haunted Kingdom.
Huh.
And Laura's trying to take a picture. Hold on.
Ha!
Oh, a true professional just works through it, man.
Right, you just deal with it, man.
she's getting pissed because I'm not looking up. I'm looking at my notes.
Damn it, I'm reading, motherfucker.
Yeah, you should see us here. We're passing the phones around, posing for pictures. Joey's playing games with fucking action figures on the
figures and
table.
shit.
Passing the phones.
I got a second Dominus coming. I won it
Do
in
you?
a contest.
Nice,
I got
nice.
2 of them now. So.
I have tunnel vision lately, so I got to concentrate on what I'm doing.
Oh,
with
no,
this-
I hear
this
you.
chemo.
Dude, understandable.
I'm an alcoholic, so you know how that works.
But
McCormick.
yeah, they were the original five guys, and they're still the original band minus one member. So the original band was Ben Ward, Joe Hoare, Martin Millard, Chris Turner, and Pete O'Malley. And Pete O'Malley's the one who left after a couple albums, but it's been the same band for 25 years. So
That's pretty
don't see that too
amazing.
much.
I didn't think they'd been around that long. That's interesting.
Yeah, they've been around forever. Like I said, they were originally Our Haunted Kingdom. They originally released a 7-inch with Electric Wizard. We discussed
Yeah,
those
well, we
guys.
did Electric Wizard, right?
So they did a 7-inch split with them on Rise Above Records, and they were eventually signed on Rise Above Records, which is a quote doom label, or is considered a doom label. But they released their first 3 albums, which were Orange Goblin, Frequencies from Planet 10, Time Traveling Blues, and The Big Black. Were more kind of like a stoner doom space rock kind of vibe to them.
Okay.
And then after that, they kind of for like the next album, like Coup de Grace and albums after that, they kind of put like a more of a hard rock, punk rock element to it, while keeping the doom vibe going.
Okay.
I was wondering if CK was reading off Wikipedia with that coup de grace.
Nice. That was the phrase. Charles Starkweather. That's hilarious, dude. Coup de grace.
No. But no, eventually they formed their own label, Mind Records, and released the next albums, which were Healing Through Fire, A Eulogy for the Damned, Back from the Abyss, and The Wolf Bites Back, all on their own label. So those albums are kind of different from the first couple albums. Like I said, they have more of a punk tinge to them, with a stoner doom metal thing. And I actually dig it a lot, because what a lot of doom metal bands do is they stick to the doom thing, and pretty much after like a couple albums, I love doom. Don't get me wrong,
It just gets a little doomy.
Yeah, I can't listen to it in big doses.
but unless you change things around a little, and
it's just the same album over and over again.
start to think out of the box a little about the genre, it could kind of get lame.
Right.
So I could see why people, don't dig the
Experiment, try
genre
some
as much.
shit.
Right. Sabbath.
Hey, your pizza rolls are done, bro.
Yeah, I just got a message on the iMac.
So your
I already
pizza
ate
rolls
those.
are still they're not done
They're
yet?
not done?
Thanks anyway. But they're this year they are well, it's supposed to be the 25th anniversary, and obviously they couldn't really
Right.
do anything, unfortunately.
They
as
got that
far as,
live album that came out.
and that's only available on Bandcamp.
Really?
Yeah. Digital only, Bandcamp. I don't believe it's on any other streaming platform.
That's crazy, dude.
So-
I thought I listened to it on YouTube Music. I thought
You might have.
that's where I think I saw it.
Or maybe it is available, but I know it was originally only available on Bandcamp.
Huh.
That was the big thing. But unfortunately, they can't really tour at this point because of the fucking COVID. But they're a little band that I heard about years ago. I still dig today, and you know, all their stuff has been released and re-released. So if you're looking for physical copies, they are available on Amazon and anywhere else you buy your physical.
That's cool.
Get streaming on any streaming platforms that you have. They're available. So yeah, definitely check them out. Orange Goblin.
Very cool.
And
what about this Lost Classic you got for us?
That Cashman seems to know who they are.
Now, I can't understand why this album never got huge. Do you agree with me, Joe?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like on a mainstream level, like it got no play really, but to all my friends that are really into the doom scene and all that stuff, it's a pretty big album. So it's known, but probably in smaller circles. Yeah,
which the album's called Proba, and what it was it was a project Dave Grohl put together because he grew up as a metalhead / hardcore punk kid.
Yeah,
and he loves like all the stuff that you know we dig. You know, Venom, Trouble, King Diamond, Motorhead, Voivod. So what he wanted to do was put together an album and write songs specifically for the vocals of those bands.
Okay.
So he wrote, you know, a tune that fit Lemmy, let's say, a tune that fit Eric Wagner from Trouble, a tune that sounded like Venom, something Kronos would sing,
right?
A tune that King Diamond would sing. And he recorded all the music himself and had them lay their vocals down.
Oh, cool.
It came out on Southern Lord Records in 2004, and
This actually sounds very familiar to me now.
I'm not familiar with this at all, but it sounds very intriguing.
It's a great album.
Yeah.
I mean, he did a great job, and you know, his goal is to pay tribute to these people that you know he idolized growing up. And,
so does he just play drums on it, or does he play all the instruments?
No, he does all the instruments.
Oh my God. Okay.
He does all of it, and everybody else he just has the vocals for the other people lay down the vocals.
Wow.
But it was on Southern Lord Records. It came out in 2004. I thought it was.
It's sad
amazing.
that 2004 makes it classic, though.
It does.
Well, shit, something 2 years ago could be a classic.
Well, right. I'm just saying. Think about old cars and shit. Like, that car's a classic.
20 years.
Now, speaking of classics and just a shitty thing, I mean, 2020 has been a bitch, but another big mild or, you know, icon in rock or metal is gone, CK.
Fucking Eddie Van Halen died.
Yeah, that's fucked up, man.
You know, love Van Halen or hate Van Halen, like Van Hagar or whatever version you like or love, you cannot deny that this guy reinvented what you could do with the guitar.
I agree.
You know, to me, there's like two huge icons that stand above everybody else in that regard: Hendrix and Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a shame, you know, another fucking thing that cancer took away.
Yeah,
you know?
Throat cancer, dead at 65. So very surprising.
Supposedly it spread to his brain and other places, and he passed away this morning. So
seen that, and I was like, fuck, here we go.
Yeah, it's fucked up to see it. So,
you know.
All right, well, it's definitely sad to see it go, but I want to talk about some shit that we've been jamming, so we're going to play that song that we always play right when we get ready to do this, a little onslaught, so hang tight. Fuck yeah, man. 666, and that music means we're going to talk about what the fuck we've been listening to, Chris. What about you, man? What you been jamming lately?
I've been coming, thanks to our homeboy Jake. He got me turned on to fucking Shadow of Intent, but that was a while ago. But I've been listening to them again, the album Primordial from 2016.
Yeah.
I fucking dig that album. That first track, there's just that chunky ass guitar part, and I've been listening to that and fucking some old ass Polka Dot Cadaver again because they just had that shit. They had some shit with some label or something. They couldn't fucking the album Purgatory Dance Party. They weren't able to do shit with it, so you weren't able to listen to it nowhere. And I guess something happened recently. They're able to put it out and do whatever they want with it. Oh,
that's cool.
Which is fucking, that album's fucking badass. I love that album, man.
Fuck yeah, man. Joey, what about you, dude?
I've been listening to a lot of my own stuff because I'm recording right now.
I'm recording.
So
he just played. He did just play me some nasty shit that he's been working with some people on too.
Yeah, I've been working on a lot of different shit, so I've been listening to that. But for CD wise, every time I write an album, I just try to listen to CDs, albums I consider masterpiece, front to back. I can listen to, love. So the two that I've been listening to the most, Pungent Stench, Bent Caught Buttering, which I fucking love that album. Yeah, fucking. That was like the epitome of German sickness to me at that time, way back then. Nuclear Blast.
Dude. I was like, fuck yeah.
And then I've been listening to fucking Defeated Sanity, Psalms of the Morbid, which is just fucking brutal as shit from California.
Hell yeah, man.
Right, dude. Defeated Sanity.
What about you, CK?
I just got the Bear Mace from
oh, hell yeah.
Mark.
Nice.
Did you listen to it?
It's fucking killer.
Yeah.
I'm digging that.
You hear some bolt thrower when you hear that?
Yeah, I actually do.
That's cool. That's what I thought too.
No, definitely something a little bit different than what's coming out right now. Old school death metal. So it's good stuff. I've been going back to some classic bands like Overkill.
Fucking right, dude.
A band called Satan's Host.
I was just also listening to fucking a lot of Exodus the past few days because I just listened to this podcast with an interview with Gary Holt, and I was like, yeah, I need to hear some fucking Exodus.
Gary Holt's a fucking beast, man. That's awesome. Very cool.
Anytime I hear the name Gary Holt, I think of The Ultimate Revenge.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Where Pavlov goes, Gary Holt, lead guitar.
I've been jamming that live Orange Goblin, really digging that, and the Bear Mace, too. That's some good shit. And we're going to be doing an interview with one of the guys from Bear Mace. They're out of Chicago. That'll be coming up here in a couple weeks. So keep your ears open for that one. That should be kick-ass. So like CK said, old school death metal reminds me of some old Bolt Thrower. And I have the Mood Strikes. I want to jam some old Bolt Thrower, put that stuff on. So these guys remind me of that. So Incinerate, though, I got my new shirt.
Yeah, it's a tight-ass
CK.
shirt. I fucking love that shirt.
That album kills, too.
Yeah, I love the shirt. CK, you got the CD, and it's fucking, I'm sure it's brutal.
It is brutal, for sure.
Yeah, because they teased us with the one song, and then how many songs are on it?
9, I think, 10.
9, 10, okay. And it's fucking crushing, then?
It crushes, yeah.
Awesome.
If you like that one song, it's pretty much,
similar,
as brutal as that one song.
Awesome. So they didn't get all like playing some like bluegrass or something like that.
Yeah, I like bluegrass, man.
Nothing against it, but not what I'm expecting.
No.
So we're gonna have the singer Jesse from the band co-hosting a murder segment with us next month. That's gonna be fun. Going to do some murder in Minnesota, Chris.
Fuck yeah.
That weepy, what's the
weepy eye
the
killer?
Weepy eye?
No, the weepy
Or the
voiced
weepy
killer.
voiced killer.
Voiced killer. We should have
I said weepy eye because I was thinking about fucking goddamn drifter guy with the eye.
Oh, Henry.
Henry Lee Lucas. That's why I said weepy eye.
He had a glass eye and watered a lot.
But the weepy voiced killer, definitely an interesting one. We should have a match between him and the Screen Door Intruder.
But that's what's
the
cool.
Weepy voiced killer
for sure.
and the Screen Door
But that's
Intruder.
what's cool is we're going to do, for that episode, we're going to do a few different Minnesota.
Yeah, it's not just going to be him. Yeah,
not just him.
Yeah.
There's a few good ones. So, but weepy voice will definitely be there.
For sure.
Definitely. So that's going to be sick. So, CK, I think we've done plenty of metal tonight. What the fuck do we need to do, man?
We're going to get our mayhem on.
Having prophesized, pray to false idols, blind, leading the blind. In the afterlife, torture and torment, no mercy, no pride. Sacred genocide, rise up, sons of Satan. Your mother's curse you have burned. Rise up, sons of Satan.
Looking to spice up a birthday party? How about Pee-wee's Bouncy House for a little twist to a teenager who needs more than balloon animals and lame magicians pulling scarves from a hat? Who doesn't want a little tickle in their butthole now and then?
Hey, you guys did my brother-in-law's birthday last year, and 2 of my teenage nieces came up missing. I mean, I don't want you motherfuckers anywhere near my house.
I'm not sure what happened to your nieces, but I'm sure they had the time of their lives. They may have ended up taking a little midnight dip in the swamp with the gators after old Pee-wee got done with them. He's a fun guy. Call 800 Pee-wee my butt today and get on our busy spring schedule. We do birthdays, bar mitzvahs, and even weddings. No butthole is sacred with Pee-wee. No butthole.
I couldn't remember who did that. It was you and me. That's hilarious, man. We're going to do some new commercials too, CK, when we get together next weekend. So that'll be
butthole bar mitzvah.
We got some good ones. I have a couple of good ones in mind actually for commercials to do. So, all right, very good. Well, we are in Mayhem, guys, and we know Mayhem. Some crazy shit tends to go down, and Joey. Of course, we just played Orange Goblin, a cut from the live one for Sons of Salem. Good shit.
Fucking right.
And also our commercial for Pee-wee's Bouncy House. But Joey, you said you've got a little story for Mayhem.
Yeah,
so.
I had a story, and it's not so much Mayhem, really. It's just, 2020's been rough, and, those of us that love the music and stuff, obviously, this is the first time all of a sudden you just can't go to shows and you can't do all that shit.
Everything's blocked.
Like, that's all we got, So, I thought I'd tell a story about one of my favorite experiences that I've ever had at a show.
Okay.
Which was pretty wild, but back at Voltaire, too. So, this is like, fucking 6 years ago.
Yeah, something like that.
It was something. So, the second year of Voltaire, it was definitely the hottest. They did it earlier. They did it in August instead of September. And, I mean, the temperatures were just fucking beast. But on the second night, like, all these badass bands are playing that night, so everybody's fucking,
everybody's
getting ready to party.
To fucking throw down.
Me and my
shit.
buddy, he had a record company called Nail Jar Records, and he had his booth set up down there, and I was helping him slang his shit.
Right.
So we were all hanging out down there, and, all these bands are coming up we want to see. We're getting excited, so it's like, oh, hell yeah, we're going to drop some acid and shit, Fucking everybody's going to get wild for the night. And all of a sudden, you could tell, the storm's rolling in.
The weather changes,
right.
The temperature drops.
Not only that, I know in about fucking 10, 15 minutes, everybody's brain's going to be incoherent. So I'm like, okay. So I'm like, first things first, we need to pack all this shit up and just get it put in the van.
Yeah, otherwise it's fucked.
Right, otherwise it's fucked. So I'm like taking shit out of my pockets. I'm boxing up. Dude, I remember just asking, where's the lids? Where's the lids? And it became a running joke. So I'm looking for the lids for all the CD cases. Right. And people are just like, what are you looking for? I'm like, I'm looking for the
fucking lid.
Yeah, so it became a running joke. But anyway, so I get all this shit
I
packed
want a lid.
up. Yeah, huh?
I want a lid.
Yeah. So we get all this shit packed up. I get it all put away. It's like, cool, now everybody can act a fool, whatever. Dude, this storm comes in, and it's fucking brutal as shit.
Oh,
and
God.
I think Belphegor was playing.
Right.
I'm pretty positive that's who it was.
Yeah, I think that's
some
what you
evil
told me.
ass shit.
Jesus.
Yeah, and all of a sudden this fucking storm comes
Oh,
rolling
wow.
in. So we're like, holy shit. So we fucking take off, and, the trip's starting to kick in and shit, so we're already, like, there. So we head back up to the campsite and shit. And Chris, you've been there before at Hog Rock. So at that time, we were camping up right over that fucking hill, like right off the main stage.
Yeah,
so
dude, that's a big fucking hill too.
Yeah, that thing was fucking brutal.
A big hill.
So we're walking up there, and I mean, we ain't got flashlights or nothing. It's starting to rain, and it's just whenever the lightning flashes, you see anything. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So you're just kind of walking. We made it back to the fucking campground. I'm thinking, night's done. You know what I'm saying? It's fucking storm, and there was only a few more bands left anyway.
They're gonna fucking drop them.
Yeah, like holy shit, this shit's ridiculous. So we're up there like huddled under our fucking our awning. We got like canopy or whatever set up
right
at our fucking site, and dude, the water is just coming down, and you see the buckling. And fucking everything's falling, dude. Tents are washing away. We're sitting. We have like 5 of us with one light on this fucking picnic table up under this canopy that's fucking falling, like smoking bowls and shit. Like, and so I'm sitting there. I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. And all of a sudden, I just turned around and walked off. And I'm taking off, and I'm walking through the fucking wherever.
Pouring ass rain,
dude, it is pouring, and I have no idea where I'm at. I'm just fucking wandering around, and there's lightning everywhere, and I'm so fucked up. I'm like, fucking lightning, get me now. Fucking do it, you know? I was like, if you're going to do it, you're going to do it now. So anyway, like, I don't know how long I'm wandering around for by myself, but all of a sudden, like, and I had no path. Like, I was just wandering. And all of a sudden, I fucking came up on the side of the small stage. And fucking Origin was there, and they were fucking playing in this storm.
In the storm,
We
and
played with them at one of those Central Illinois Metal
dude,
Fests.
Fucking
Holy
amazing.
Shit. Brutal.
And it was like they were taking the power of the storm and feeding off that for what they were doing. And I'm like, any other band would probably been like, fuck this. And these guys were like, no, hell no, we came out here. And that was one of the most amazing things I ever saw in my life.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, and then I remember like fucking because it was so hot. So whenever that rain came,
right,
it was actually like really soothing,
refreshing.
Yeah, it was refreshing. So I remember fucking sitting up there just out of my mind at the front of the stage after Origin was done, being like, Midwest cleansing, that's what. And I'm yelling all this shit, and I'm telling Origin how amazing they are. Then I turned around and looked around, and no one else was there except me. And I'm like, okay, shit. So I just look like a fucking idiot. But then after that, fucking
Midwest cleansing.
Yeah, and then Dying Fetus played after that, and they played on the big stage, and then. So all this rain had created a huge-ass fucking mud pit. And, dude, it was just all night. Everybody's fucking
sick.
Dude, moshing in that fucking mud. Everybody's fucking, tackling each other. And, I mean, the night just went on, but I remember I fucking hit my buddy Montez, like fucking pile drived him and fucking mud all over the place. So I remember I fucking wandered off to the showers at some point in the night, like 3 a.m. after the band's played. And I remember taking a shower in one of these fucking, campground stalls.
Shower,
with my fucking clothes on. I got these fucking, I mean, it's just a t-shirt and these fucking camo shorts, but trying to get all this mud out, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And I remember, so I take off, and then it started to get humid again after all that, towards the morning. Yeah. And I'm like, man, I still feel like shit. So I went back probably at like 5 a.m, took another shower. So, that was the night. But the one thing that happened after that, too, I mean, that was an amazing night. There's nothing. Right. That'll go down as one of the
Origin
best
and
things I
Dying
ever
Fetus
saw.
in the storm, dude.
Yeah.
But the funniest thing was, okay, so by the time the sun came up the next morning, everybody's getting their bearings and getting ready for the last day or whatever. Lo and behold, I fucking touched my pocket. What's in there? My fucking cell phone.
Oh,
the whole
time. It made it through the mud, all the showers, all that shit. I said, that was the thing that I thought I took out of my pocket first.
Right.
Apparently I never did. So I'm fucking taking showers with that motherfucker. And I took it and I fucking set it on the fucking the dashboard of the van for that day. And I mean, it was fucking 100 degrees, no bullshit. And that motherfucker dried out and it worked after that.
Yep, I remember that. And then you got ran over in Chicago. But that's a whole other story.
Dude, I saw John Langstrom, who's the drummer for Origin.
Right.
But I saw him play with Hate Eternal recently here in Bloomington. Them and Cannibal Corpse played.
Right.
And I remember, I'm just looking at him fucking whenever he was fucking, unloading his shit, fucking putting his stuff away. And I was like, hey, man, Full Terror. When you guys played in the storm, I was on a head full of acid. That shit fucking blew me away. I just wanted you to know that. Nice. And he just looked at me and he was like, interesting.
That's cool. Yeah. That's cool.
So anyway, we're missing a bunch of shows in 2020. So
I think that's
a good memory of a show, bro.
Yeah,
I love
that's a good one.
That's awesome, dude.
That is a good one. All right, guys. Well, you know what it's time for now, man. We've been talking about it.
The finale, baby.
The finale of Hellcoming. It's been 4 weeks of brutality. tag teams crushing each other in the steel cage.
Fuck yeah, all brought to you by fucking Nuts, man.
Fucking Nuts is fucking amazing.
Fucking Nuts.
You're getting it in with that peanut butter, man.
Eat the whole jar. We've been talking about it. We've been eating this stuff. Joey, which...
I ain't stopped.
I got this. I got the cookie dough kind.
Okay,
Nuts
you got
about cookie dough.
All right. And what about you, Chris?
I got that motherfucking monster cookie, baby.
You got monster cookie.
What
and
you got out there in Danbury, CK?
Yeah, what do you got?
I got some white chocolate.
Nice.
man.
And I got Nuts About Cookies and Cream. This stuff is fucking incredible. So thanks to the guys at Folk and Nuts for sponsoring the Hellcoming contest. And
Me
they
and
sent
Earl
us some
Grey
samples.
lost first week, sadly. So,
You guys did.
but it
You
was
guys
still
did.
dope. It was fun.
Yeah, it was good. And then Chris lost in the second week.
Yeah, sorry, Becca. My bad, dude.
And then me and CK tied last week, which was crazy. So, CK, here it is tonight. We are going to be going at it, and we're going to put a little twist on this. So, here's how it's going to work. I think we do our fun match first, and then we'll
get down to the
I like that. I like that.
All right, so tonight we're going to do this kind of like how we typically do a killer cage match. So
Because we
tonight
haven't done one for a few weeks.
we haven't,
No,
so I'm
because
kind of
we've been doing
itching.
this, so yeah.
And we're going to make this interesting because tonight we got H.H. Holmes and William Devin Howell going up against Master Blaster himself, Joe Matheny, and his sidekick, Jennifer San Marcos. What a crazy fucking match. So, to make this more interesting, what we talked about in our pre-show meeting is I'm going to have each one of you give me a number 1 through, let me make sure I got 70 on it. Yep, 1 through 70. So, CK, you go first and give me a number, and that'll be one of the objects.
Okay, 69.
Fuck my fucking number.
A pet rock. A pet rock. All right, so we got a pet rock in the cage with these guys. Chris, what about you, dude?
23.
23.
Jordan.
23 is a glass Coca-Cola bottle. That could get interesting. Joey, what about
Glass
you?
full of Coke.
Whoa. I'm going to take let's go with number 7.
Number 7 is a leather belt.
I mean, that's sexy.
It is.
Hot as fuck. man.
So we got a leather belt, a pet rock, and a glass Coca-Cola bottle. And then CK, why don't you give me a number 1 through 15. No, give me a number 1 through 5. I got a special list here that's funny.
3.
Variable.
Number 3.
Number 3 is Crazy Mike wearing only tassels on his nipples after drinking a fifth of Jack Daniels.
This fight's over. No, that's it. No, that fight's over, dude.
So what do you guys think? What do you think, guys? Is Crazy Mike going to be of any use after drinking a fifth?
No,
No.
it'd be like me drinking, like,
He might be a good distraction.
right.
He
it
might
be a
just
good
pass out and
distraction,
fall
yeah.
down, I'm thinking.
I think I'll be talking to the pet rock.
It's possible.
There you go. There you go.
That's possible. So what do you guys think, man? I mean, we got William Devin Howell and H.H. Holmes, but, man, Joe Matheny with Jennifer San Marcos on his shoulders is going to be tough to beat, man.
That's who I'm going with, 1,000%.
Oh, I'm down with that. That's
Dude,
mine.
that is a fucking dominating fucking
That
form
is.
right there.
That is. I can't argue with it. CK, what do you think? You think Holmes?
I'm going with H.H. Holmes and then
Okay.
Devin
All
Howell.
right.
Wild card.
Very
Well,
good.
yeah, he's
All
going
right.
down. I don't know. I just feel like Matheny and San Marco just out there to kill, dude.
Yeah, I don't
know-
think the objects are going to do much good in this case. I don't
Not
think
really.
Joe Matheny needs one.
No, and even if you come at him with a belt or anything like that, he's just gonna fucking body
Smack
Because it's not
Yeah.
like the belt's going to fit around his waist.
Right. It's like, what do I need that for?
I mean, William Devin Howell was a pretty stocky guy, but Holmes is pretty small. So
Yeah, he's tiny.
I don't
So-
know. It's an interesting contest.
So yeah,
Holmes is quick, so he could grab that belt and start triggering
I
some
don't
shit.
think I don't think he can.
I don't know. It's
I don't think he
up
can.
for
That
debate.
mustache
You know
weighs
what?
him down.
You know what else I could see is Joe Matheny drinking with Crazy Mike.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
okay.
they're just wasted together.
Or maybe Crazy Mike will hook up with Jennifer San Marcos.
That would be pretty badass.
You know, take some titty shots. You know, he
So,
was
so
prone
either
to
way,
do
he's
that
a
sort of thing,
distraction.
Yeah, either way, he's a distraction. Oh, so I see why you got Holmes and fucking Al then. All right, all
Right, there you go. So H.H. Holmes and William Devin.
I was like,
yeah.
Jennifer, you know about California? They got nudist beaches there, right?
So, all right. So tonight we've got our two listeners, and they are going to be waiting here with bated breath because the way this works is we came up with 32 serial killers, whatever,
down
bad
to 2.
motherfuckers. We've got it down to 2 tag teams, so 4 of them in total going up against each other. And the way this works is we base it on the temperature in Hayworth, Illinois right now. If it's an odd number, then the first team wins. So H.H. Holmes and William Devin Howell. If it's an even number, it's Joe Matheny and Jennifer San Marcos. So, Chris, what time is it in Hayworth right now?
What time is it?
I'm sorry. What temperature it is. Thank you.
I was not wrong this time. He was.
You were
Fuck
not.
yeah.
I was wrong.
It is
Don't
64
confuse him,
degrees,
Pete.
according to my phone. It is
64 degrees is
Master Blaster.
an even
Master
number.
Blaster.
So Joe Matheny and Jennifer San Marcos win, and with them, this is how it works. They were my number 1 pick.
Nice.
I picked Joe Matheny and Jennifer San Marcos, so I get a 1. CK picked them to be his 3rd, so I beat CK because my number is lower than his. So
shit.
I'm number
3 to
2
1.
then.
So that means Chris from Flowery Branch, Georgia, is the winner of Hellcoming.
Gorse
Very
Bond.
cool. Of course, Nihilus Jello is in 2nd place, did a fine job.
Hell
He's
yeah,
going to
dude.
get some amazing
Thanks everybody
prizes.
for
all
playing,
the
dude.
all 4 of them.
Yeah.
got some
Yeah,
good prize
Rebecca,
packages.
Earl Cox from Pontiac, Rebecca from Wisconsin Rapids. All 4 were great.
Yeah, and thank you for keeping it up, talking about it on the fucking Facebook page and
Yeah.
all that shit, dude. Like
That made it
like bringing
fun.
it up. It's like you guys are talking about, it and it's just like,
Yeah.
I'm just sitting here. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
The actual participation was awesome.
Right. Yeah, I agree
It was fun.
wholeheartedly. I think it's fun and of course, Folk and Nuts. Again, thanks to Brandon and everybody there for doing this. We appreciate the peanut butter is fantastic. So
Thank you for all
folkandnuts.com
your
if you want to
support,
pick
man.
up some of this stuff. It is really amazing. And we'll link to that in the episode description, of course. And they're going to be sending out some contest prizes to each of the 4, a full large jar and a small.
jar.
And then each of the contest winners are getting Murder Metal Mayhem stuff. Of course, Chris, he wins the contest, so he gets the most stuff. He gets the T-shirt, the Murder Metal Mayhem activity book, my Creation of Chaos 2, koozie, the Hellcoming poster signed, and some stickers. And
he
the
gets to
grand
fucking
prize,
hang
Chris.
out with us and talk with us, dude. So it's gonna be fucking
Yeah,
fun,
Murder
dude.
Metal Mayhem co-host spot with us in a murder segment. We'll let him pick the topic. And so, Chris, you're going to get to do that with us. That's going to be really fun. We'll do that via Messenger or Skype or something like that. And so that's awesome. And again, Nihilist, Jello, Rebecca, and Earl, you guys were awesome.
Fucking A.
And
Thanks for
everybody
fucking
gets some good
participating,
shit.
man.
And I'm going to be sending those out this week. So by the time this episode is live, the prizes should be on the way or very close to on the way. And I'll send you all tracking so you'll know where it's at. So, all right. Well, very good.
Yeah.
We've done plenty of fucking mayhem tonight. So let's hit that outro, guys.
Yeah, that shit's badass.
Bear Mace, Let Crack the Whip, some killer death metal from Chicago.
Chi-Town, baby, represent.
Hell yeah. CK, you got the new one and you're digging on it, huh?
It rips.
Yeah.
It kills.
And how cool is it? The artist that did the cover's name is Altieri, Matt
That
Altieri
is pretty
from
fucking nuts.
Massachusetts. As far as I know, not related to me, but
Or
love
if
that
he is-
album
he-
art, man.
He's probably like a third cousin, fourth removed.
Could be.
That's
could
what I
be.
feel about Brian Cashman. I'm like, I bet that dude's related to me
funny.
somewhere down the line.
Somewhere down the line. Like, come on, how many people got that name? Shit.
All right, the bumper music tonight, guys, by Orange Goblin, Slayer, and Bear Mace. And Chris, who does CK's intro music? Very good. Joey, our Murder Metal Mayhem intro.
Low fucking 12.
Nice. And CK, who sings fucking and provides the 6 fucking 6 music.
The one and only Onslaught out of England.
Nice.
Fuck yeah.
Nice. Thanks to Folk and Nuts one last time for being a sponsor of Hellcoming. Go to their website, order some of their stuff, folkandnuts.com, eat the whole jar. And I'm gonna get a hold of those guys, see if they want to keep on advertising on Murder Metal Mayhem. So
See what happens.
it's really
dude.
cool.
I'll fucking promote their shit because it's good.
Yeah, it is really
Like,
good.
I won't talk something good about something I don't like.
No,
God damn,
that's.
that shit's
I wouldn't
fucking
even
fire,
approach
dude.
them if I didn't like it.
Shit's
Yeah.
fucking
No, it's
fire.
good stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm picky with my peanut butter, so.
Yeah, it's good stuff. And speaking of good stuff, Joey, spellboundeffectsandart.com. I mean, that's some pretty gross, gory shit.
Yeah.
Just in time for Halloween, Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter. I mean, fuck.
Any time of the year
Any
is good
time
time
is-
for Spellbound.
Give a severed baby head
Fucking
to
A,
your
right.
cousin or
All
something.
zombified.
What
and
time
fucking-
is the
Dude, the
wrong
fucking-
time to do that?
Like we said before, the fucking details impeccable, dude.
Yeah.
Fucking veins that you can see that.
Yeah,
like it's
it's
fucking
so
amazing,
realistic. Like Ed Gein was in the kitchen whipping this shit up. So, spellboundeffectsandart.com, again, our all-time
man.
sponsor.
Thank you, Tony. You're the shit, man.
Yeah. Thanks to everybody listening out there. We keep seeing those numbers rolling in. We appreciate everyone out there checking out the show. I mentioned the other day on our Facebook page that it was National Podcast Day, and I asked our listeners if they had anything to share about their love for Murder Metal Mayhem, and we had a few spout
Right.
off. So, Chris, who's the first one there?
Our fucking good ass friend says Stephanie Ruskinov says, "Who doesn't like serial killers and metal?" The way the podcast is set up, it makes you feel like you're having a good conversation with friends. You guys always crack me up. And as always, Stephanie, thank you for your support. You've been
Yeah.
there a
Thank
long
you.
time, and
Yeah,
That's
you're a
awesome.
huge
She's
fan, and I
fucking-
fucking love that shit, dude.
Yeah,
Thank
she
you.
went up to
represents.
Shakers with her sisters, and then she sent CK that
Hell
shirt.
yeah.
That was cool as
Yeah,
hell, man.
yeah, I love
Hell
that
yeah.
shirt.
I love that.
It was
So
awesome.
thank you very much, Stephanie.
She
Thanks for your
represents
support.
our-
You're the shit.
Joey, next one.
Rebecca Boomsack, who Chris was playing for.
Yeah.
Sorry, Rebecca.
But yeah, she commented, I love the podcast because it's murder, metal, and mayhem.
Fucking
Fuck
right,
yeah.
dude. Thank
Saws
you, Rebecca.
all.
Well said. Well
Do-
said.
Doesn't get any better than that.
CK, what's the third one there, bud?
Roger Smith said, "I love the podcast because of the guys and their personalities. It's pretty dope, if you ask me.
Thank you, Roger, dude. Fuck
I
yeah.
like
cool.
it.
Hell yeah,
Very
Roger.
cool. And Samantha
Good shit,
Reinhardt, a friend from back in the low 12 days, she used to play bass in a couple bands we jammed with. So she commented, the podcast has more details than the shows on TV. So that's cool. I mean, hell,
Yeah,
you get
fuck,
more
I
info listening to us fucking morons
Be
talking
fucking
about
dumb
serial
about it. Hell
killers.
yeah, thank you, Samantha.
So yeah,
dude.
thank
Thanks.
you very much, Samantha. That was very nice to say. So don't forget to check out murdermetalmayhem.com to listen to all our episodes, except of course the bonus shit. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
I mean, listen to the bonus shit,
Listen to the bonus
but
shit.
go to the 66 Club to do so.
That's right. That's
Right.
what I was going to tell them.
Yeah.
They got to
Pay the
join that
$3.
666 Club. $3 a month, patreon.com/murdermetalmayhem. And you get the bonus stuff like the Dahmer episode we did, Joey. I bet a lot of people that listen to us have not heard
Right.
us
Awesome.
do a
And it's
bonus,
a full
episode, all Dahmer, all the
Non-stop.
time. And you can only hear it if you're a member of that 666
And we're
Club.
about to do Ramirez.
Yeah, we got Ramirez coming up, which is going to be sick.
etc.
Yeah.
Among
etc.
other things.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
Nice.
So go to that episode description. We'll link to the 666 Club. Helps us out and heaps paying the bills here because it does cost money to do this, and we appreciate the help. check us out on Amazon Music. Now we're on there. Spotify, Stitcher, Castbox, iTunes, and more. Leave comments wherever you listen. I can't say that enough because that gives us, moves us up the food chain. Rate us. All that stuff means a lot. Just
right
takes
now,
a minute.
I'm a piece of cheese. I'm trying to be the lion.
That's right. That's right. So support the show and leave comments and shit if you can. Go to PeteAltieri.com if you want to pick up one of my books. You can get them on Amazon, but if you get them from me, I'll give you a signed poster and bookmark with every one.
One of them horror type novels.
That's right. Horror type novel. I'm actually working on another horror type novel right now.
Hell yeah.
Creation of Chaos 3. I got some sick stories. Got The Creep. Got The Last Supper, which I'm going to do an audio version for Thanksgiving. And I'm working on
666 Express.
the 666 Express with each one of the four of us as a character in the story. It's pretty funny.
I can't wait to fucking check out the rough draft and then be like, oh, we need to make this. I'm probably going to be like, somehow this needs to be a graphic novel.
Who knows? It very well could. But it's a lot of fun doing this one. I've never done a story like this before, but I got some really good ones coming up after it. I got a story called Come to Jesus. I got one. I'm working on a paying homage to Edgar Allan Poe's The Telltale Heart.
Right.
I'm writing a story called The Eyes Have It about the eyeball killer. And a kind of a mashup between the eyeball killer and the Telltale Heart.
And you also said you might consider Lovecraft.
I am doing Lovecraft, The Thing on the Doorstep.
Right,
so that's the one I'm going to do. So that'll be a good one. There's some shorts you can watch on YouTube with The Thing on the Doorstep. It's pretty crazy. So anyway, we can't let them go without hearing another karaoke song.
No, never can.
Hope you guys dig this one.
You know
I did it just for this.
Before this karaoke, let me tell you something.
Oh, shit.
For our listeners that made it all the way through this podcast.
Right.
It was just something I found interesting. Me and Chris were watching, I brought Maximum Overdrive over the other day.
So good.
Oh, God.
Every day for October, I always like watching a certain horror movie. And
AC/DC.
Yep,
the whole
AC/DC like a motherfucker. But anyway, so we got talking about that, and I was talking about how that was like big time in Stephen King's cocaine days. And
Right.
how he talked about, when he wrote It and everything else, he basically
He
didn't
don't
even remember
remember
right.
shit.
So I happened to look up, I saw a fucking thing with a Rolling Stone interview. And he was talking about Misery, and he was saying,
Oh, yeah, that,
He
dude.
was saying how Misery 1,000% represents Annie Wilkes as cocaine, and that's his biggest fan.
Oh, wow.
And when I've seen
It's
that
like,
movie
that
a million
man-
times.
Your
Oh, that's
biggest fan is
crazy.
breaking
Yeah,
you down.
and then you hear that,
Wow.
and it like put it in a full new perspective.
That's interesting.
That's
I
pretty
thought that was
fucked
pretty
up,
cool.
man.
So I thought I'd share that on
Yeah,
the
that's
podcast.
pretty
yeah,
cool.
I remember that the other day.
That's pretty
dude.
cool. Well, hey, I did this karaoke just for this episode, thinking about the people at Bartonville and the insane asylum. So hope you dig it. So until next time, keep one foot in the gutter.
And keep both hands scratching for sanity.
Crazy, I'm crazy for feeling so lonely. I'm crazy, crazy for feeling so blue. I knew you'd love me as long as you wanted. And then someday you'd leave me for somebody new. Worry, why do I let myself worry? Wondering, what in the world did I do?
thinking that my love could hold you. I'm crazy for trying, and crazy for crying, and I'm crazy for loving you. Crazy for thinking that my love could hold you. I'm crazy for trying, and crazy for crying, and I'm crazy for love in you. You crazy motherfuckers.